Hello everybody, it's Jeanette from Thermogroovers. Welcome to Thursday Night Live with me. It is May the 1st and it's Thursday. Yay, I remembered. Hey, if you just started following me, welcome to you as well. And if you're one of my regular, I don't think I fixed my hair. If you're one of my regulars, welcome. Now I just need to turn that off. There we go. Now I'm good. Now my phone won't vibrate on the tripod and drop off. Anyway, welcome. Who's going to join me tonight? I'm just going to get some Glad Bake paper out of the cupboard because I need to line a tin. All right, who's joining me tonight? And where are you joining me from? Are you a regular or a newcomer? I'm keen to hear. Hello, Sue and Tracy. Yay, you made it, Sue. Congratulations. You've been watching the replays for a while now because of the situation of life, and now you can watch it live, which is awesome. Hi Brazina, hi Jenny, hi Donna, nice to see you all on. I'm just lining a tin. I'm doing a springform tin. So tonight I'm making the spiced apple cake, which I just posted on my page earlier today. Well, this afternoon it was. I was a bit late. Anyway, so that's what I'm making. So I've already got the apples cooked, but I hope you can join me. Hi Michelle, nice to see you from New Zealand. Hi San, good to see you too. And hello to all the groovers. All right, Cheryl, you're from Redland Bay in Queensland and you are a regular. You sure are. Kristen, I put your vanilla slice post up on my page the other day. Everybody loved it. So those pictures were fantastic. Thank you for sharing those. Yay! It is nice for you to be home, so I'm so pleased that you're home with hubby now. There's no place like home, right, Dorothy? All right, let me just line this tin. Look away if you are pedantic with lining tins. I'm not, right? Now, there are certain ways that a lot of people line round tins. This little black duck doesn't do it, right? I just keep it really, really simple. However, you may want to watch a YouTube clip so that when you line it, this syrup doesn't drip out of it. Mind you, mine doesn't, but I know some of you have done this and the syrup has leaked out of your springform tin. I've got a rose gold one. This is one from the mix shop, so it's a really tight seal. It's good quality, but I believe some other springform tins may not be of the same quality. Hey Victoria, Heathcote, New South Wales, and you are a regular, absolutely. And what's the temperature been like there today? I'm keen to know. Hi Jane, nice to see you on too. Hi Lynette and Simone and Janet. Woohoo, good to see you all joining. Okay, this is how I line it. I just put the paper on, can you see that there? I don't know whether you can see that there. Hang on, let me turn you down a little bit. There we are. And then I just put it on top like that. That's all I do. I don't really line it any other way. Now you can put an additional lining in there if you want to. But I just don't feel that I need to. And if I did, I'm not sure I'd get it to sort of stay there. It'd probably end up in all the cake batter. Anyway, YouTube's great for getting little hints on, sorry about the noise, getting little hints on, how to line your tin. Hey Ray, nice to see you on. Hi Janelle. Hi Robin, good to see you as well. How many of you, now that I've got a few of you on now, how many of you joined the webinar yesterday and watched the TM6, TM7 side by side with Helen and Victoria? I thought it was a great session. It was very informative. The girls did a great job. So thanks Helen and Victoria. I'm just going to get a little bit of butter and just run it around the sides of this. I'll put it on my paper. I've got this to do some sous vide chicken, so hang around because I'm doing that tonight. Victoria, that's how you line your tins. Yeah, go us. Now, if Gail Woodgate's watching, she'll be horrified. She probably would have had to go and get a paper bag. She'd be hyperventilating. You watched it, Victoria. It was great. You did too, Ray. Awesome. Yeah, good on you, Robin, for doing that as well. I think it was a really good session. And I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that I'm going to miss my silver knob on my Thermomix. I'm not sure how I'm going to adapt to that. But anyway, I'm not too old to learn new tricks, right? Now, Sandy, a big shout out to you. Sandy had a little crash in her go-go mobile and never had a crash in all the years she's been using a go-go mobile, and she'd come in contact with a curb that she's been across like thousands of times, and she poppled over. So I hope you're feeling okay, Sandy, and I hope Bruce is okay. Shout out to you. All right, I've got the tin line. That's all I'm doing. Now, you watched the replay, Jenny. It was good, but not as good as your lives. Oh, they're representing the company. I'm representing myself. Although I would happily represent the company. I'd probably pull it back a little bit because not everybody knows me. But I think they had time limits and they were still trying to do the comparison cooking. So it would have been a tough little gig to pull off, but I think they did a great job. Yep. I am Ray. I'm going to miss the hole in the top. Right. All right. What I've got in the Thermomix is over here. This one's going at the moment. I haven't got the measuring cup in. I probably should have that in. Not that it really matters. I'm sous videing some chicken. It's got 47 minutes to go. So that's the protein that we're having for dinner tonight. Because I'm cooking cake and I'm going to do some crackers. And I'm also going to show you how to do cauliflower mash. It's not in my book, but it's just an option that you can have with the recipes that are in my book. I should have put it in there. I really should have done. All right. Yes, Louise, you should have got an email with the recording, and it may have gone into your junk mail. So those of you that registered for that webinar, if you haven't received the recording yet, have a look in your junk or your spam or your promotions or your socials folder and just search it. So it came in today to me, so you guys should have it as well if you registered, right? All right, I have apples already steam cooked, right? They don't even look cooked, do they? They don't look cooked at all. So they're semi-soft, right? So I want to show you how soft they are. Now, you don't over steam these for this recipe. So this is the spiced apple cake. It's on page 70, gosh, I can't think, 76. Hi, Maria, good to see you on. Okay, Rhonda, I won't forget to do the cauliflower mash tonight because I did last week. I did a demo on the weekend and the girls were like, you didn't do the mash. I'm like, I forgot. I just forgot. But we're having it for dinner tonight, so I'm not going to forget. So I'm doing sous vide chicken and a cauliflower mash, and I'm going to steam some vegetables as well, right? Victoria, you got your replay email at 12:30. Awesome. Can you just pop in there what the subject was so people can search that in their emails? Sandy, you've got it, but you haven't watched it yet. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You're in Melbourne, Julie. Lucky you. You'll watch the replay, having a wine with your gorgeous daughter. Go you. Love it. Hey, Tina. Nice to see you. You've got both of my books. Congratulations. And you love both of them. That's pleasing to know. I really love it when people love my recipes. Let me break this apple in half, right? It's still, like, it has a softness to it. And it has I just brushed my teeth. That doesn't taste very good. It has a softness to it, but it doesn't have the full-on crunch. So it's still firm, but it's semi-cooked. And you only cook it for like 4 to 5 minutes after you've heated the water. Big step that you have to do is preheat the water. So as soon as you put the apples in to steam cook them, they only need 4 to 5 minutes, no longer, right? So let me show you what you do with your apple. So you need around about 4 or 5 of these, right? Thanks, Victoria. That's the subject of your email, getting to know TM6 and TM7. So if you search that in your email, you should be able to find it. So go into your socials, your promotions, your junk or your spam, and you should be able to find it. All right. I think I used 4 of these. I had them off my tree, so this is why I'm doing this tonight. So I just peel the apple. Just hang with me. I mean, it's not as if you don't know how to peel an apple, but let me show you how to cut them. So then reading it and then seeing it, completely different, right? Everyone's interpretation of words can be different. So this is why you get me making all the recipes out of my books, right? It's a bonus, right? It doesn't cost you any extra. I had someone comment the other day, oh, it's expensive for an ebook, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even reply, I just blocked them. So I didn't even bother. All right, when you cut it into a quarter, what you're actually going to do is just cut it lengthways again, right? So you just cut it in half again. Then it goes into your simmering basket. Okay, Beverly, you watch when you get home, no problems. So that's what you do with all the apple. Look at that codlin moth in there. You just cut around that, right? So you heat your water, and then once your water's already preheated, you put the apples in your basket and then you steam them from there. Don't put your basket in and then turn your apples on and try and cook them in 5 minutes because they won't cook, right? That's a really important step with the recipe, okay? All right, let's get cooking the apple cake. I have to turn this on again. Now, I've got the crackers I'm going to make, and just a little tip with that, but I'm going to section them out and then I'm going to wrap them and freeze them so I can just get a couple of batches out and cook them when I want them. Because when I actually roll out a full batch of my Parmesan seeded crackers, I eat them within days, and I really shouldn't be doing that, right? So I thought, if I leave 2 out and bake them tomorrow and then put the rest in the freezer, it'll slow down the eating. That's the goal, right? That's right, Diane. You are totally on it. The books are not expensive at all. You've got both, and you decided to get them printed and bound. Now that was expensive. They will be beautifully preserved, though. Okay, I'm pleased that you've done that. It can be expensive if you're printing them off elsewhere other than your own printer. All right. So tin is lined. This is, I recommend a 23 to 24 centimetre springform tin because it's easier to take it out of the tin. That's why I recommend that, right? Oh, thanks, Boo. Best Thermomix recipes and demonstrations ever. I keep it real. That's for sure. There's no smoke screens or mirrors here, right? All right, we've got a little bit of brown sugar and some butter, and we put this into the Thermomix and we melt it to make a syrup. So once you've done your apples, set them aside to cool, which mine are. Tip the water out. I didn't put that bit in the book, so I've had lots of people say, do you leave the water in, Jeanette, or did you take it out? You take the water out, right? The steaming water, we don't use that. You can put it into something else with your cooking if you want to. You can reserve the water because it's got nice flavour in it. Victoria, you use my books way more than any other books. That is fantastic. You got your hubby to do your books. You don't think they're expensive at all. Thanks, Dee. It is lovely to hear that. I don't think they're expensive either. All right, let's put the sugar in and we'll make this into a syrup. So when you're reading the recipe, I've got the total volume of brown sugar and the total volume of butter. But a section of the butter, like a portion of the butter, goes into this syrup, and then the other portion goes into the cake batter. All right, just so that you know. Karen, you've got both books. You've printed them, put them into plastic sleeve folders. Perfectly preserved. Love it. Awesome. You too, Sue. You're on the bandwagon as well. Fantastic. Thanks, ladies. All right, so we're just going to pop this in. What am I doing it for? Just for a few minutes on a low speed. And we're making just a syrup. All right, so we'll pop that in and bring that all together. And I really like this part of the recipe because it goes really nice with the walnuts and the apples. So let's put that on. All right, we'll get that away. I need a measuring cup. Where am I going to find one of those? Right here. There we go. All right. So the syrup will get poured in here. Now I've got some walnuts that I've vacuum sealed. It stops them from going rancid. And these are the little bags that I get from the Thermomix website as well. They don't have the valve on them, the one-way valve for the vacuum seal wand. They don't have this. So if you have a food saver machine, these are great to get because you don't have to create your own bag. They're already created, right? Vera, these books are great. Then you are very generous with showing us all the videos on how to cook them. Thanks, Vera. Thanks, Suzette. You guys are always my champions. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see what these taste like. They're perfect because no air can get to them and they've been in a dark cupboard. So putting these in your vacuum seal bags can be really helpful with saving money. So when you buy a big bag of walnuts, if you don't seal them properly, they'll go rancid. Now these are going to go on top of the syrup as well. So I'll put these in shortly. And while it's doing that, I have some sous vide chicken here that I'm doing. So I'm going to show you what I've done with that. This is super simple. I've not used this flavour before, but I'm like, nah, that'll work. Let me get my butter. So I've got a little bit of butter to go in a bag. Oh, I need to get another bag. I've got one in the Thermomix now. And let me find another bag. Voila. I've got a little collection over here in my cupboard. And I reuse these bags. All right. Oh, this one's got some coffee beans left in it. I do put my coffee beans in these. You know how you open a big bag of coffee beans? I put them in here and put as much in here as what fits in the hopper, and they're perfect. So I leave that for my coffee. All right, let's do this one. So I've got a tiny knob of butter, right? Just a little bit. And look, you know what? I'm going to stick a bit of apple in there just because I've cut that up. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness to the chicken. I probably won't eat that. Hang on, who am I kidding? I probably will. Thanks, Louise. You reckon it's money well spent. You have the recipes on your phone, both printed off. Don't want to be at the shops and forget what you need. Absolutely, that's the perfect partner, is having a digital copy and then a hard copy, I reckon. Awesome. Thanks, Louise. All right, a bit of butter, a bit of apple going in. I've got, this is one chicken breast. Now, I could have put both of these in one bag, but I've got one on cooking and then I wanted to prep this one so you can see what I'm doing. Right? Let me just have a look at this. I love it. It looks great, right? All right, so we're going to throw the chicken into the bag. And these bags are off the mix shop. I love them. You know I love them because it's the only ones I use. And then what I'm going to do is put in a squirt of groovy honey mustard mayo. So if you have the first book, Way More Than a Yogurt Recipe, you'll have this recipe. How much do you put in, Jeanette? We'll watch and learn. I measure with my heart, always. Okay, let's give it a squeeze. Oh, here we go again. This could go all sorts of ways, right? So I'll just give it a bit of a squeeze. So this has yogurt, honey, a little bit of vegetable stock, a little bit of salt and pepper. And all those flavours work with chicken. So why can't you cook in it, right? Why can't we put that in there and create a little sauce in the bag and let it cook away at 65 degrees? What do you reckon? You love the mayo, Rhonda. Yes, it's good, isn't it? It's like a dip. You could actually eat it like a dip. All right, we'll seal this off now, and then I'll take the air out of that. There we go. Just make sure that you get a really good tight seal and you've got no little bumps in that seal, because it won't take the air out of the bag, right? And just be mindful not to get too much liquid down around the valve. All right, so now we take the air out of it, and then it's ready to drop into the preheated water. So I do my chicken at 65 degrees for an hour and a half. There we have. See, all done. So this will just go into the Thermomix bowl. I'll put this on once I actually dish up that piece of chicken, and I'll cook this one. We'll have this, we'll share, my husband and I will share this. And we'll have this for just cold with salad. Right? You can put whatever flavours you like in there. Whatever you would sprinkle on a piece of chicken when you cook it in the pan, it basically goes in the bag. Okay? Goes on tuna sandwich too, Veronica. You love the mayo as well. Awesome. That's good. All right. Let me set this aside. That's going to drop into the Thermomix when I take the other one out. Right? So I've got half an hour to go on that one now. Let's put the syrup on in this. Let's go this way. Oh, I've got a new holder on my tripod. You'll be pleased to know after the performance we had a couple of weeks ago, or last week. All right, I'll just give this a little bit of a stir. There we go. Just it's separated a little bit whilst it stopped. All right, so this syrup goes into the bottom of the tin. All right. Now, what I suggest people do is they put like a biscuit slide or something underneath. You know, if you've got your cake in the oven, put a tray underneath just in case. just in case it separates. Oh, I just want to eat it. Oh, that wasn't enough. Let me go again. Yum. Yum. All right, we'll just swish it around so it coats the bottom of there's not a lot of syrup in there. But what happens, it gives the apples a really nice finish, and it actually, the walnuts go nice and candied. Right, so what we're going to do now is place the apples. Placing the apples. So this is where we do rounded side up. That's what it says in the book. Let me see. Place cooled apple segments on top of the syrup mixture, rounded side up. All right, so that's what we're doing. So you're just going to place them like that. Look, they'll go to sit flat, but that's okay. That's how you want them to go in there, right? And you can place them fairly tight together because you'll have plenty of apple. Ooh, what's that on that one? That's a foreigner. Let's cut that one out. Foreigner. There we go. You're gone. And keep going. Actually, they're sitting flatter, so just sit them as they sit, right? Done like that. And then we're going to place the walnuts sort of in between. Rightio? In between. So we do all that. And then I'm just going to put some butter, and the rest of the butter and the brown sugar now goes into the bowl. Don't wash the bowl out. You don't need to wash the bowl out. Now, Wendy, you just defrosted and cooked the sweet and sour pork meatballs. Delicious, just like the original half. Woohoo! You froze the meatballs separate to the sauce, which you froze in a container. That's brilliant. Thanks for putting that up there, Wendy. Awesome. I'm pleased you've done that. All right, we're just going to put the rest of these in the middle. So good to get food out of the freezer when you don't feel like cooking. And then you can just do some fresh veg with it if you want to. All right, walnuts now. So place the walnuts sort of in between the apples, and that goes really nicely with the syrup. All right. And then the spices in the batter, in the cake, we've got ground ginger, ground cloves, cinnamon and nutmeg. Ooh la la, very old-fashioned flavours. Very old-fashioned flavours. All right, poke it down into the syrup. You want to get it into the syrup. Now, my nan used to do a lot of cooking with apples. She used to preserve them in Avocola jars as well, so all her pears and stewed apples, she'd, you know, halve them. And they look perfect, always. And, yeah, all those old-fashioned spices, that's what Nan used to cook with. That tastes better. Let me just get a bit of that syrup on the end of it. Yum. All right. So now we're just going to make the batter. Let me turn you up here. Can you use other nuts instead of walnuts? Absolutely, Tina. You could use some almonds. So just chop them up a little bit in your Thermomix. Don't use cashews. They don't go very nice with this. Or you could use macadamias, or you could use pecans. So if you're allergic to the walnuts, that's an option for you. All right, let's put the butter and the sugar in. So this is just a simple cake batter. You're not reinventing the wheel. So we just mix that through. And this is ready to go. I feel like I need to sneeze now. Oh, I don't think I've done that on a live. Now this is only going to go for like 30 seconds, and then we're just going to add in all of the other ingredients. So we add our wet ingredients first. Oh, and a little bit of dry ingredient. And then the cake batter's made. So this has golden syrup in it, so it gives it a really nice depth of flavour. And the milk powder in the recipe just makes it a little bit lighter as well. Yes, Marie, you can sous vide cook in your TM5, no problems at all. You'll just need to use a blade cover, and you can still select 65 degrees and an hour and a half. You can put your Thermomix on for 99 minutes on the TM5, no problems at all. Okay, there you go, problem solved. All right, that's long enough. We've got yogurt, milk powder, eggs, milk, and some golden syrup to go in. you know, that with a bit of that. Yum. There we are. Look at that. Using soft brown sugar in this recipe just makes the cake so much nicer. I really do love using soft brown sugar in cooking. So, all right, milk and eggs. In it goes. Bit of milk powder. Bit of golden syrup. That's going in there as well. And I'm going to do the cauliflower mash shortly. And then I'll make the crackers. We'll get that started as well. All right, that one's done. And the yogurt. Yogurt goes in nearly every recipe in my book, except for the beef brew and the sweet and sour meatballs. And I think there might be even one other, maybe. All right, we'll just mix that through. Give that a little bit of a whip. Oh, there we go. It's started. You're welcome, Tina. No worries at all. All right. This doesn't need to go for very long. Just a quick combination. I'm just going to scrape the bottom, make sure the sugar and the butters come off the base of the bowl. There you can see in there. There we go. All nicely mixed. So just move it away from the edges because sometimes it does stick. I'll just mix it again. Just give it another belt. There we go. See, I'm going to miss the knob. I want to be out. I hope it's got a thing that you can turn with your finger. I'm hoping this, right? Thank you, Rhonda. All right, we've got all that done now. I'm just going to put in the flour and the spices. And I'll just scrape all that down. And remember not to over mix. So you can do a higher speed, but you don't really need to do it for long. And any residual flour, I usually just stir it through with my spatula, right? Okay, here we go. Done. That's long enough, really. And then I'll just mix it through. Now the cake batter goes on top of the apples. Right. I'll just take it off the lid. Give it a little bit more of a mix. Oh, yum. And then, did I turn the oven on? No, I did not. I do that all the time. There we go. Oops, turn her up. Done. And now we can pour it on top of the cake mixture. There we go. Lovely. Oh, look, it's always good to have a taste, isn't it? It just screams out my nan's name, Mary Austin. I started my aqua fitness classes last week, and I went again this week, and just started talking to some of the ladies in the class, and a couple of them went to school with my dad, and they knew my mum. Oh, it was just lovely. You sort of know who's who in the zoo once you start connecting the dots. And then I knew some of their kids. So, hello to Tanya, if you're watching. I met your mum at swim class. It was just lovely. All right, let me just put that on to speed 10 for 2 seconds. Crank that up all the way around, speed 10. And that flicks off the blade. I did notice they mentioned this on the webinar the other day. I call this a dry spin. Right? Because you get all your cake mixture off there as well. It was really cool. But man, gee whiz, those classes. I've been so sore after I've been to the classes. It's amazing how you can still have a really good workout and not feel like you're having a good workout. All right. Oh, I want to get all of that out. I just want to eat it. Okay, cake's done. And then what we're going to do is just smooth the batter over the top. It is so much fun, isn't it, Nicole? You tread water the whole time because you're so short. Yeah, they put me down the deep end so that my shoulders go underneath the water. And then it's harder to stay, like keep your feet on the bottom. I feel your pain being short, Nicole. All right. There we have it. There's our cake done. So now I'll just put that into the oven. And I just want to have some. Yum. It's so good. Now, Sam, we're making the yogurt used Aldi milk powder and it works out much cheaper. Absolutely. You're so lucky that you've got Aldi. I wish I had Aldi. I wish I had Aldi when I was writing my book. Because I would have been able to test a lot more different brands. Absolutely. All right, that one's done. I'll just wait for the oven to heat up. My oven doesn't take too long. It's already at 60 degrees, so it won't take very long. I'll get a tray out to put underneath for a just in case, because there's nothing worse than your tins falling out of your cupboard. Sorry about that, guys. There's nothing worse than having syrup come out and then it sticks to the bottom of your oven. I'm just going to set those there. I'll fix those after. So just as a precautionary measure, you're best to do that. I have always licked the bowl like that. Of course, Vicky. Nothing changes, really. You do hydro as well, Julie. Good on you. It is really good to keep your body moving, isn't it? You used pears for this, Nicole, when you were testing it, and it worked out beautifully. Awesome. I'm pleased you popped that in there because I'm sure other people were asking. No, Sam, we do not have Aldis down here in Tassie. There's no competition for Coles or Woolies. It's just IGA, Coles or Woolies, and I'm not sure why, whether that's a government decision or what it is, but you think that we probably don't have the population. I'm just giving this a wash. There we go. Right, that bit's done. Now we're going to move on to the crackers, right? Sue, Aldi, you're saying Aldi is your first choice of food shop. I think it would be for a lot of people, Sue. Absolutely, and they do keep a lot of variety, don't they? Someone said that, is it like the centre aisles of where they have, what do they have in the centre aisles? Somebody's mentioned that to me before. I can't remember what they've said, but they said to avoid them because you spend more money. I don't know what that's about. All right. Whoops. There we go. Now I've just given that a wash. We're going to move on to the crackers. And let me just bring this up just to make sure I've got everything measured correctly. I do pre-weigh most things before I come on and do my lives. All right. What have I got there? I need a little bit of water. So I'm just going to use my measuring cup because we don't need a lot. And, okay, I'm just going to pop the linseeds in. Now, this is the tip that I've got for all of you. I'll come down here so you can see what I'm doing. So when you're measuring out your seeds for the crackers, called Isle of Shame. Is that what it is, Wendy? I thought it was something. There's bits and pieces in the centre aisle, treasures. Oh, I love it. I think I would be in the centre aisle. I'd have FOMO, think I'd be missing out. I want to go and have a look. All right, so when you're weighing your seeds for these crackers, weigh them twice and then put some away in a Snaplock bag so that you've got them for next time. So I've weighed out one lot of linseed and they're going to go in a bag. So next time when I go to make these, and I'll put the salt and pepper in there as well. Next time when I go to make these, I won't have to weigh the seeds. I just have to weigh out the flour and the cheese that's in them. And then I've weighed out all the other seeds, so they'll go into another bag, right? So just put them all in there. And you can weigh out 2 or 3 lots if you like. It's just going to save you time down the track. And then all I do is put the linseeds and the salt into that bag, and then we're good to go. So you don't have to weigh it every single time, because I know that's a pain point for some people, is getting everything out of the pantry and then having to weigh it. So if you do it like this, it'll save you, like your future self will thank your present self for doing the hard work now. So, I will, Veronica, I'm going to do that. I'm going to Google it. Jenny, you like that tip? It's going to save you heaps of time. So whilst you're weighing, just keep weighing and bagging, and then you're good to go. And you can do exactly the same with the superseedy sour Yough bread, right? There's my oven, it's hot. I'm going to pop this in. Now, Vera, you made the superseedy sour Yough bread and took my advice and have another seed. It's ready to go for the next batch. Love it. It will save you so much time, and it gives you the joy of cooking and not the hindrance of having to get everything out of the oven. Not the oven, the pantry. The pantry. I was in the oven just then. All right, so I've put the tray underneath. That'll catch any syrup if it decides to escape, okay? All right, so this is right on the bag what it is, because if you don't, you'll be like me and you'll go, ooh, what's that for? Superseedy sour Yough? Or is it for crackers? So I'm just going to write crackers. Yep, done. And then I know, right? I'll set them aside and I'll fix them later. So let's put these into the Thermomix and give them a little bit of a whiz. So we crack the linseed. It's important to do that so it's easily digested and absorbed. All right. And then we're just going to put the seeds in and a little bit of water. Let me just have a look at that. So the rest of your seeds go in and then a little bit of water. And then we just give them up. Let me show you what that's done. The bowl was a little bit wet, but it'll still sort of turns it into a bit of a meal, right? Nicole, you say pre-weigh all the seeds because these are addictive. They sure are. They sure are. All right, in go the seeds. Oh, I'll just have to take that cake mixture off there. All right. And that's a quick wash. There we go. Scrape it all down and put the water in, and we just mix them through, and it breaks the seeds down a little bit so they're not completely whole. There we go. I just need a little bit more. There we go. Done. So we give that a little bit of a mix. And then I'll just pop them back in the bowl and set them aside, and we'll put them back in a second. There we go. Let me show you what it looks like. See? So when you set them aside and let them rest, the seeds actually soak up the water. Yeah. Right, we do that. And what happens, the linseed takes on this sort of sticky texture and starts to become a little bit like glue. So the next thing we're going to do is rub some butter into the flour. Right. So you can see there's a little bit of water in the bowl. That'll soak up in a second. It doesn't take long at all. How did not empty out the water from washing the bowl? I did. I emptied the water out from washing the bowl. I was so quick, Sue. I just tipped it down the sink. I'll have to read that, Robin. I can't see that there. I've touched the screen. I'm scared I'm gonna lose everybody. I've got PTSD from last week. All right, we have butter. Where's that? It's still in the fridge because it's chilled. So we're rubbing the butter into the flour, and I'm putting the cheese in there at the same time. Here we go. Right. So cheese, flour, bit of salt and butter all goes into the Thermomix. Right. And a bit of paprika. Butter. And then we're just going to rub it. I've got seeds on top of the lid. Let me take them off. I'm just checking to make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions. All right. So we just do that little bit. And And now we put in the yogurt and the seeds, right? So that's the next thing. Ooh, look at that. Let's play find the butter, right? It's all rubbed in beautifully. What have I missed there, Sharon? What kind of flour do I use? This one is just, what have I got there? Plain flour. That's it. I just use home brand plain flour. I don't use any specific brand of flour. You can make these gluten-free if you want to. That option's in the book as well. I've thought of everything. Now, Dee, you went camping and made the kick-ass dip, and it didn't last very long and everyone absolutely loved it. It's a ripper, isn't it? I think you feel good when you eat it because it's just flavoured up yogurt. Like it's sort of like a take on a tzatziki, but it's like kick-ass. Now I can read it, Robin. I will read that after. I'm going to read everyone's comments once I finish on the like. So, all right, now you can see here, there's no more water in there. Look, if I just see, there's hardly any water left in it. It doesn't take long for the water to get absorbed in that. So we're going to put the seeds back in, and then we put the yogurt in. Now these are not hard to make, right? It's just the method that makes a difference with how good these turn out. And it's all about method, right? And even like portion sizes with increasing the amount of food that you can get out of one recipe. My recipes are really generous. So if you are wanting to, increase portion sizes in a recipe, the only thing you really need to increase is the amount of protein. So if you've got a recipe and it's got 800 grams of protein, chances are you could take it up to 1 kilo, no problems whatsoever. And that's a common thing that a lot of people ask me, and they say, oh, the Thermomix doesn't make enough food. Poppycock, it does. You love this one, Rhonda. They are so good, aren't they? Yes, so you need the first book as well. They go hand in hand together because the recipes are different. I still have the yogurt recipe in the first book, but the recipes out of my first book, they're all different, right? There's salads, there's a quiche, there's lots of beautiful recipes. So they go hand in hand. That's why everyone's saying they just cook out of the 2 books because it's got everything in there that they need, which is great. And then particularly the rough enough granola. Oh, wow, that's really good too. So if you like granola, you'll love that one too, right? All right, this just needs for a minute. I'll just get my mat out so I can put it on my mat. And excuse me, Mr. Rex, how am I going to shift you? Hang on, buddy boo. Old 15-year-old. Stay there, buddy. There we go. Happy days. I'll just get my flour and my mat out, and then I'll be right to divide all of this up. Here we go. Right, we're on real time here. All right, put a bit of flour on here, ready to divide it all up. And then all I'm going to do is wrap it in Glad wrap, and I'll put it all in one big freezer bag. Okay? That's how we do it. Right, move that out of the way. Done. All sorted. There we have it. It's all come together beautifully, right? Now you can wet your hands or put some oil on your hands if you find this mixture's a little bit sticky, but generally it's pretty good. You don't want to put too much flour on this because it will dry out a lot. The seeds keep absorbing all the moisture in the recipe. And if you want to use cheddar cheese in this instead of Parmesan cheese, you can. You can do that. If you don't have Parmesan, thank you, San. I've been working really hard on getting myself in optimum shape before I have my little hip operation. So thank you, San. That's lovely of you to comment. All right, let's get all of this out. Right. I like to win and get out as much as I can without wasting anything. Right, we'll do a little quick spin. There we go. Around we go. 2 seconds. And we're done. My sous vide chicken has 8 minutes to go. So I'm going to take that out in a second and I'll do the cauliflower mash. Look at that. How good is that? So good. Let me turn you down a bit. Jenny, the Rough Enough granola is amazing. Definitely made frequently. Isn't it wonderful that you've all got so many of the recipes on rotation in your household now? That was my goal, was to create a collection of recipes where you really wouldn't need to look elsewhere to be making things for your family. I just feel that just makes life so much easier. I am Julie. I am having a hip operation. I don't need that flour on there. June the 11th. That's when I'm going to have it done. And I'm saying I can't wait. Mixed emotions, right? All right, divide this into 6 portions. All right. And then I'm going to keep 2 out. I'll cook these tomorrow. I'll just bag them up separately. And the others, I'm just going to wrap them in a bit of Glad wrap, which I've got right here. Super-sized roll of Glad wrap. And then I'll do them in 2s, because that's how I'll get them out of the freezer. And what I would do is roll these out and bake them when I've actually got the oven on, and make the most of having the oven on. So that's 2. There we go. And another 2. And you can freeze it, right? You can keep it in the fridge for a week, whichever you want to do. I've kept it in the fridge for 2 weeks and it's been perfectly fine. So if you want to do that, you can. That's entirely up to you. So there we have it. There you go. There's your crackers. Now that'll make you about between 100 and 130 crackers. It's a lot. And when I've eaten them all, I know how many I've eaten, because it's usually me that's eaten them. And I'm like, Jeanette, you've eaten a lot of crackers, right? Awesome, Judith. Your yogurt turned out good. I'm pleased to hear that. Well done. I've got some in the fridge that I've got to take out of the bowl, but I've got another batch to put on tonight. So I've been making some vanilla yogurt, and I've run out of my Greek yogurt. I'll use the rest up tonight. All right, let's give that a wash. Speed 7, up to 10, up to 7, and then reverse, and the same again. It's like revving the motorbike, or putting your foot on the throttle in the car. All right, let me do the mash now. I'll show you how that's done. Now that's not in my book. This is just a Jeanette thing, a bit like the sous vide chicken. And I always like to show you the little extras. I mean, I probably should have put this in my book, but I wasn't eating low carb then, so it wasn't on my radar. So if you want to do low carb, you can still do low carb and eat out of my book, because I don't have a lot of flour in the recipe. So, you know, in some of the recipes like the beef roux, there's a little bit of flour. I mean, you could put almond meal in there, or you could use arrowroot flour, which is better than corn flour when it comes to low carb. So that's an option as well. Suzette, your yogurt is fabulous. I love it. Now, Judith, you've had terrible storms happening where you are. Lots of people without power. Goodness me. I think Spain and Portugal were without power the other day. Everywhere. It was a bit of a disaster because it shut down both Portugal and Spain. I'm not sure if they actually worked out why or how, but it's a mystery. Well, it is to me, because I haven't heard if, they found out why. Now, I haven't really given the bowl much of a good wash. Do you know why? Because it doesn't really matter if that gets in my cauliflower mash, right? Okay, Jenny, my goal for us to have a collection of high rotation recipes is much appreciated. Oh, you are welcome. You have excelled at that. The yogurt, the sour Yough bread, super seedy bread crackers, bulletproof pastry, granola. Look at you go, naming the lot. Hellish, Relish. These are all the ones that are just constantly in your thermi. I love that, Jenny. Thank you. That's wonderful. I do love hearing the satisfaction that people have using their Thermomix and also using my recipes. I love it. Now, do you eat low carb quite strictly and use heaps of my recipes from both books? Thumbs up. Because I don't like to use, unless it's a cake, I mean, it's going to have flour in it. But the savoury recipes, they're generally pretty good, right? So And even with carbs, like I still have vegetables that are potato and not potato, carrot and pumpkin. I still have that because I do like that, right? I'm not going to cut them all out. I'll turn it with green thing if I just eat all green things, right? All right, these are my, here you go. This is cauliflower mash. This is what it looks like. Now, you all know how much I love butter, right? So we use a little bit of butter to cook the cauliflower in, and we use a little bit of milk and a little bit of salt and pepper. So if you think of bechamel sauce, this is nearly what it's like. Now, there are recipes on cookidoo for cauliflower mash, but they're a little bit complicated for me. I like them simple, right? I like everything to be simple. So what we're going to do is put the cauliflower into the Thermomix, and I'm going to weigh this. So if you want to get a pen to write this down, do that now. So then you can do this yourself and have a go. Now, you can't knock it until you try it. Cauliflower mash is amazing. Let me get you something out of the fridge that I made last night for dinner. I did a shepherd's pie. Oh, is there any left? Oh yeah, there is, right? And instead of doing mashed potato, I did cauliflower mash. Now, can you tell the difference between that being potato or cauliflower mash? That's cheese on top too, by the way, just like I would a normal shepherd's pie. So I did cauliflower mash and put that on top of the shepherd's pie. And my husband actually prefers this more so than potato. Yes, Veronica, maybe. Now, Diane, you've only had your Thermomix since February. All because of me. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Now you're considering buying another one because you love batch cooking and being prepared. I think it's a really good thing to consider. And I wished you lived closer to me, Diane. We could have fun in the kitchen. Anyway, you're having fun with me on my lives, which is wonderful. All right, let's keep going. Cauliflower mash is delicious. Don't knock it until you try it. Exactly. They say it's only kinky the first time, right? All right, we're going to put it in. I'm going to weigh it in. Now, remember the size of your ingredients. If it fits, I can't say this with the TM7 because it's not going to apply anymore. If it fits through the hole, oh, there goes the water. If it fits through the hole, it can go in the bowl, right? So this is a little bit tight. So I shouldn't use that word. It won't fit, right? Now it'll fit. So if it goes in the hole, it can go in the bowl, right? So we're putting all of this in. I'm weighing it too, so I'll read that out to you. So I've put in about 450 grams of cauliflower. Now this is enough for 2 people. So, you know, you need a lot. So buy cauliflowers when they're on sale. Now, Diane, you bought, Victoria, you bought a second one after watching Less Than 12 Months. Best thing you ever did. Yay! And we've had a great chat, haven't we, Victoria? All right, we're just going to put it onto reverse. So use your reverse function. And we're just going to turn it up to around about speed 4 or 5. So let me count up how long I do it for because it's all just by sound for me. So I'm turning it up to speed 5. And I'll do this for, I would say, between 6 to 8 seconds, right? That's how long I do it for. I'll show you what it looks like. So when you crumb it like this, it doesn't release as much water out of the cauliflower. So that's what we've got, right? That's perfect. Perfect. Let me get my spatula out and scrape it down. And this is where we just add the milk, the butter, and the salt and pepper. So I'm going to keep half of this butter to put in it when I mash it. So how much is this? Let's weigh it. Throw that in. 20 grams, right? And then I'm going to put in some milk. That's like 70 grams. And then a bit of salt and pepper, right? And the cauliflower, the Parmesan cheese doesn't go in, or your tasty cheese doesn't go in until you've actually finished mashing it. So I cook it for 10 minutes at 100 degrees, and we sit the simmering basket on top. Right, so sit that on there like that. Oh, yum, they're my apples. So that'll cook for 10 minutes. Now you can't steam your vegetables on top whilst you're cooking your cauliflower because you're cooking it at Varoma with the milk in there would be too hot. So this is why we do it. Yes, between 6 to 8 seconds for the cauliflower on reverse, Jenny. And it's about between 400 to 450 grams of cauliflower. Okay, that's what that is. So I've got, I'll just throw that bit of cauliflower in there. I've got a bit of Parmesan cheese here. I sprinkle the grated Parmesan around the cauliflower after I've done the mash. All right, so we'll complete that shortly. That won't take very long at all. And the other veggies I'm having tonight, I'm steaming some carrots and some Brussels sprouts. And we're going to have that with the sous vide chicken. Now the sous vide chicken is ready. And what I'm going to do is check it to see if I need to pan fry it or whether I can just have it like it is. So stay with me and I'll get it out of the bag. Let me just dry that up. I've got water there everywhere. Hang on, I need a clean dishcloth. Let me get that out. And I forgot to put the timer on for the cake. Oh yes, I've lost a little bit of syrup there so far. A tiny wee bit. And you know what I do? When the syrup goes down onto the bottom of the tray, if it does ever, I let it cool down and then I eat it. It's like a little brandy snap. Nothing ever gets wasted, right? All right, let's get the chicken out. Can you make it with broccoli instead of cauliflower? Absolutely, Maria. It was about 70 grams of milk, Cheryl. And I'm using speed 1. So I've got it on, I don't even need it on reverse now. So I've just got it on speed 1 at 100 degrees, right? Awesome. There we go. I'm pleased you guys are all asking questions because I'm keen for you to give it a go because it works beautifully. All right, I'm going to cut this up and I'm going to put in a little thermo server so that it stays nice and hot. For when I'm steaming my veggies. So I'm just going to my selection of thermo servers. Here's one I prepared earlier. Now here's a little tip. Pour your hot water in here, out of your bowl. It'll preheat it. All right. It's not boiling water, but it'll just take the chill off the thermo server. Let that sit aside. And now I'm going to take this out and put it onto, I'll get a plate out. Actually, this one I'll do. Just 1 second. I'm recycling everything. Here we go. So our chicken's done. So an hour and a half at 65 degrees. That's my preference. And all the juices, I keep all the juices. They don't go to waste. So I usually strain them off. No, Jenny, don't need to have reverse once you started cooking the cauliflower. It can just be in forward motion. Okay? So Diane, I'm cooking at speed 1. So I put the cauliflower mash on for 10 minutes at 100 degrees at speed 1. All right, let me pour the juices into a cup because you know I recycle everything. It has to happen. There's no loss of flavour, no wasting of anything, right? Because we've got chicken juices in here, and then I've got the yogurt as well, and the flavour of the honey mustard mayo. Right. So let me just pour that into there. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. There we go. And I'll just pop that out like that. Pour the rest of the juices off. And then that bag, I just wash that up with soapy water and then I turn it inside out and give it a really good scrub. And sometimes I put them through the dishwasher. And they can be recycled that way. All right, let's have a little look here. Look at this old fork I've got. It's got one of those bone handles on it. I just love all the old stuff, right? Love all the old stuff. Let me taste that. Oh, that's really yummy. Oh, that's good. Oh, I am not wasting that. I'm going to turn that into a sauce. All right. So all we had in here was the groovy honey mustard mayo. I didn't put the apple in here. I didn't put anything else in there, actually, just other than a little bit of butter. That knife is not what I want. Let me get my favourite knife. Haha, this one, right? So let's just carve that. Just looking to see. There we go. That way. Oh, yes. Oh my goodness me. I don't know whether it's probably too bright on the light. You can't really see it. Let me do it again. Oh. I'm just going to pick this up and then pull it apart. And you can see, look at it. Just pulls apart. Oh, that's delicious. Highly recommend, right? So it just falls apart, just like that. Now, oh, it doesn't need pan frying. You could just serve it up like that, put a bit of extra salt and pepper on it. You could put that in the Thermomix and thicken it off with a little bit of flour if you wanted to, and pour it over top. It would be delicious. Absolutely, Rhonda, that's what I just said. So you are reading my mind. All right, let me just carve this up into slices. I will turn it into a sauce. I'll put it back into the Thermomix. I won't add anything else to it. It's other than a little bit of flour. Even though flour's a carbohydrate, the amount that I'm having is not really going to make a huge difference. All right. And then I'll just pop this into the thermoserver, and that'll stay nice and warm. And I can put my veggies on. Right. Look at that. Magnificent. Right, we'll tip this water out. I'll give that a wipe. There we go. And then I'll slide the chicken in there. Look at that. Beautiful. I bet you wish you were eating here. That's going to be delicious. Right, that can go in the dishwasher. Set that over there. And then all I'm going to do is add a little bit of flour to this. So let me just get some flour. Oh, I've got some there from my crackers. Yeah, I'll just use that. How's that? I need another bowl. How are we going with this? That's not far from being done. That's got only another 2 minutes left to go. And I'll just use this bowl. Oh, that's still really hot. 65 degrees is nearly too hot to put your hand in there. So we'll put the juice in here. Here we go. Rhonda, this is what you were asking about. I'll put a little bit of flour in there. Do you want to know how much? Look, this is how much. Not much. It's next to nothing, right? Just a little sprinkle. Put it back onto your Thermomix. Let me point you up. And just use your thicken mode, although you don't really need it to go that fast. So I would just put that on for 3 minutes at 90 degrees, because that's the temperature that you cook your bechamel sauce at, and just put it on to speed 2. That's it, right? And that'll thicken in 3 minutes. It should cook that flour off. That should be long enough, because it's still warm, right? Let me just have a little look. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And if you want to colour it up a little bit, just put a pinch of turmeric in there, which I might do, right? I might just do that. Put a little pinch of turmeric in there just to give it a little bit of colour. There we go. That was like a quarter of a teaspoon. Not even that. Not even that. All right. Let me check the cake, right? Tina, I'm making you hungry. You haven't cooked dinner yet. Well, this will motivate you to do something, and you may not be able to make all this tonight because of what you've watched. You'll be inspired to have a go at it. You can put it on the list for the weekend, right? That'll keep you going over the weekend. All right, let's check the cake. I reckon that's only got another 5 minutes to go, if that. I'll put the timer on for that. And then I might be able to get that out and put it on a cooler, on a cake cooler. Maybe, I'll be able to get that out. But the mash is nearly ready to finish, so I want to show you how to do that. Teresa, you wish you were eating here? My husband's going to enjoy this. I'll put the veggies on once I get the mash out. I need another little thermoserver. Good thing I've got one. Right, so here's a teeny tiny one. Look at this baby. Looks like I shrunk it, doesn't it? Let me put some hot water in there. I just like to preheat them to take, like to warm them so that the warmth from the food doesn't go into warming the thermoserver. So I'll just put some hot water in here. There we go. All right. That's doing its thing. Let's see what... Oh yeah, that sauce looks really good. Yum. Okay, so what we've got here, that's your cauliflower done, right? And then what you're going to do is add in the rest of the butter. So let me weigh how much that is. So that is like 30 grams, 35 grams. Now we've got the parmesan, but I don't put the parmesan in yet because it tends to stick to the blade a little bit. So I usually turn this up to speed 4, right? And that'll bring it all together with the butter. And the milk's already in there, so imagine the bechamel sauce, right? This is what we're basically doing. Jeanette, you find they don't stay warm enough. Put boiling hot water in your thermo server and it will stay hotter for longer, right? They are, aren't they, Maria? Now I'm doing this will be like 20 seconds, right? Let's have a look at it now. And I'll show you what we've got in the bottom. Oh, there we go. Can you see that there? And then what happens when you put the cheese in there? Oh, see, I could just eat that like that. When you put the milk in, just put anything between 50 to 70 ml of milk, I think. You don't want too much milk in there, otherwise it'll make it too sloppy. But when you put the cheese in, I basically sprinkle it around the outside. So let me show you what I do here. Well, that didn't work. I try and avoid the blade because the blade's hot, and I just poke it down into the cauliflower, right? It's not a very good example of what I do, is it? There we go. And then I just mix it through with my spatula, and then it starts to become like a little bit cheesy. Can you see? There you go. You can see the cheese? Yeah, that's what we're after. So now I'll put it in this thermo server. I'll probably have too much to go in there. There we are. Oh no, that'll fit in there. Perfect. And that's basically how you do the cauliflower mash. And don't forget to give it a good spin. Don't leave any of the cauliflower sitting on the blade because it'll continue to cook. Because you've got cheese in there, it'll be a pain to clean. So that's how you avoid that. Let me spin that off. So there you go. There's the mash. Look at that. It's fantastic. Like, it's a great option instead of having your mashed potato. Let me just taste it. Make sure it's got enough salt and pepper in it. It's delicious. Oh, I forgot to weigh the cheese. I think it's about 50 grams, right? That's how much I put in there. I did weigh it before I put it in that container, so it's about 50 grams. It's a generous amount of cheese. And look, I don't tend to worry about the fats that I use in my cooking. Butter and cheese. I don't use heaps and heaps of cheese, but I do use a lot of butter. Because butter makes everything taste better. So there's my mash. Right. We'll just give, you can see the blade there, right? We've given it a good zippity-doo-dah. And now just give it a quick rinse off, and then I can put my veggies on to cook. And then it's done. Right, we'll put some water in there. And you don't need a lot of water. Don't put a litre in. You only need half a litre. And then we'll put these on to steam. Right. So I'll put them on for like, I don't know, they'll probably take 13 minutes maybe, because I haven't preheated the water. I'll put them on for 14. Done. There's the cake calling me. 14 minutes, Veroma, speed 1. Let's get the cake out, right? Could you write the cauliflower mash up for you? Yes, I can do that for you, Sue, no problems. Oh, Louise, you put cream cheese in yours. It's so good. You have given me a great idea. What about sour cream? That'd be nice in there too. Delicious. Right, let me get the cake out. And I'll show you, I have lost a little bit of syrup out of mine tonight. That's probably good, so I can show you how much. All right, let me just check and make sure it's cooked. Oh no, it's still a little bit wobbly. Not quite ready, people. It's teasing me. Right, probably needs another 5, so it's not quite ready. I'm just going to get the tray out and show you how Oh no, I'm not going to get it out because it's still dribbling a little bit. I'll leave it in there, otherwise I'm going to end up with a mess. So I can't take the cake out and show you, but I'll do a video of it so you don't miss out, right? So that's what we're going to do. Now, I have a spare bowl. Yes, I do. Awesome, I can do my yogurt in there. This is the sauce, right? So what we've done now, you can see I've got this delicious sauce. So let me pour that over the top of the chicken in the thermo server, right? So you can see these are the juices out of the, oh geez, that only just made it. Out of the sous vide chicken. Wow. Yum. Let me taste it. Amazing. Amazing. There we go. So if you haven't had a go at sous vide cooking yet, I hope tonight's inspired you. It's just a mode you can use on your Thermomix. And it's not hard. You just need someone to give you a little bit of a starter so you know how to do it yourself, right? Yay, Marie. She's got this written down. There you go, everyone. You can take a screenshot of Marie's comment there. You are a gem. Jenny, you're off now tonight. You really appreciate the lives. You are most welcome. I hope you've all enjoyed tonight. It's been fun while you've been watching me cook my dinner. I'll be on again tomorrow night. All my lives Thursday and Friday night, 6 p.m. And you can go back and watch the recording. And I also upload them onto my YouTube channel now as well. So I hope you've all enjoyed that. I'm going to put some yogurt on. I've got my milk here ready to go. So this is my Tetra Pak. I don't have any fresh milk at the moment. Haven't been out to the shop. When I do this, I put, can you see what I'm doing there? Let me push that. I put a little hole in the Tetra Pak, right? That's the breather. So when you go to pour it into your Thermomix bowl, it doesn't splash everywhere. So just put a little hole in the Tetra Pak. And I've got my milk powder ready to go in as well. And I've got my starter out defrosting. So awesome. I'll see you all tomorrow night. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Can you put up the recipe for the chicken, Rhonda? Yes, I will do that. I'll have to do it tonight because if I sleep on it, I'm going to forget it tomorrow and I'll have to watch my live. That's a bit funny, isn't it? You're welcome, Lynn. No worries at all. You are welcome, Maria. I am going to go and enjoy my dinner now. It's going to be delicious. I'll take a picture of it when I've plated it up so you can see it. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. See ya.